Well, yeah, the game is really good. Sonic Racing CrossWorlds has been a very strange game for me. Initially, with the closed beta test back in February, I was a little unimpressed. I just thought the game had way too many fundamental issues that realistically were never going to get fixed. However, when the open network test rolled around, they introduced some amazing new features that significantly improved the game. I still had my issues with the game, but overall, it was a much better experience. And now, the full game has been released for around 4 months. And I've had some time to sit with my thoughts. So, let's see what we got here. First, let's talk about how the game actually feels to play, and this has always been one of CrossWorld's strongest traits. The general control of the game allows for much more precision and freedom than the previous Sonic racing games. In fact, CrossWorld's overall feels more like a traditional kart racer. Everything is super quick and snappy. It's a joy to play. At first glance, the speed of the game appears to be somewhat underwhelming, but when enabling certain settings like the dynamic camera, and unlocking more speeds like the supersonic speed, the game feels super fast, and it makes it a better experience. The item balancing is still an issue, unfortunately, especially when playing online. I will say I do appreciate the variety of items, especially since there's a nice balance of speed items, power items, and defense items. It just gets very, very chaotic at times, and I feel like that's partially due to the amount of item boxes on each course. However, with the different item classes, a lot more strategy is introduced, and that's further contributed to by the gadget system. Holy shit. The customization in this game is truly out of this world. I have never seen anything like it from a kart racer. The gadgets give your vehicle different attributes to help with things like tricking, defense, ring collecting, and pretty much everything. There's so much strategy involved with it too, because you have to pick and choose which gadgets would suit your playstyle the best. For me, I always went with this gadget set. The buff in defense helps a lot, especially against online players who always use combat items. The ring gadget helps collect more rings, which increases your speed. So yeah, that's my usual loadout. But that's only half of the equation. We also get to customize our vehicle. We have 5 different vehicle types, and honestly, I've mostly just stuck to the extreme gear, or boost type vehicle. If you're expecting it to control at all like how it does in the Riders games, then you might want to lower those expectations, because the boost type vehicles feel completely different, but they're still a blast. The main appeal with these is that the turning feels tighter, which I am a huge fan of. But it doesn't have to be so clear cut. You can mix and match different vehicle parts to get different stat buffs. And when you're done, you can further customize the look by adding stickers and decals. Like, check out my cool minecart. And at this point, man, this game probably has the best character roster out of any Sonic racing game. You have your usual picks like Sonic and Shadow, then you get to some deeper cuts like the Babylon Rogues, but then you go completely crazy with some of the crossover characters. This is honestly the highlight of the game for me. I'm not going to go too in depth here with the DLC stuff because I do want to make a follow-up video when all of the DLC is released, but what's here now is fantastic. Seeing Knights represented at all in 2026 just puts a smile on my face. And then with the Season Pass, you get third-party characters like Steve from Minecraft and SpongeBob. I still can't believe this actually happened. Oh, and guess what? Each character has unique attributes that further contribute to the freedom you have with customization in this game. But then we get into the true meat of this game, the courses. And unfortunately, I have my issues. As I've mentioned time and time again in previous videos, I am not a huge fan of the philosophy they adopted when designing these tracks. A large group of them feel too cramped, without much breathing room to separate yourselves from other racers. Now, in the eyes of some, this may be a great thing, as you constantly have to be on your toes. But in other cases, it gets to the point where no matter how good I'm doing in the race, I'm one item away from getting sent straight to the back. Of course, part of that is due to the item balancing, but another big factor is the lack of space. But I'm still going to give credit where credit is due. The locations they chose for these courses are great. We have a ton of picks from games like Colors and Unleashed, which are 2 of my favorite Sonic games, so I'm not complaining. And I also really dig the representation from newer Sonic games, like we got Kronos Island, Superstars, and White Space from Shadow Generations. There's something here for everyone to enjoy. I also love that they brought back the transformations. Those felt missing from Team Sonic Racing, and here, they honestly feel better than how they did in All-Stars Transformed. The whole point of the concept is that they provide more variety in the course design, and that's definitely the case here as well. I also really dig the inclusion of red star rings. It adds some incentive for people playing single player to go back and replay tracks, while also exploring alternate pathways that they normally wouldn't have noticed. It's pretty genius, but that only accounts for one half of the race. After the first lap, we encountered the main selling point of this game, the CrossWorlds. The concept of the CrossWorlds is fantastic. Being transported to a completely different track halfway through the race keeps things feeling fresh and makes every race unique. but it also takes away from what I believe is the entire point of having 3 laps in the first place. In the first lap, you get a feel of the course layout. In the second lap, you explore different pathways to optimize your route, and in the third lap, you put it all together. For first-time players, the 3-lap setup is perfect. So when the second lap is replaced by a completely different track chosen at random, it messes with that ideal formula for me. Of course, once you play the game enough and practice your routes enough, this is a non-issue, but I still think it's something to keep in mind. As for the unique Crossworlds themselves, they're pretty much just regular tracks, but are only accessible through the Crossworld mechanic. I guess the unique Crossworlds do have a more dreamy and wacky feel that you wouldn't find on the normal tracks, so there is some difference, and every once in a while you will encounter a frenzy that gives everyone a unique power-up during the Crossworld, which is yet again another way that the Crossworlds keep things feeling fresh. Overall, it's a great mechanic. It allows this game to stand out from literally any other kart racer on the market. And thankfully, this game has a lot of modes to keep you busy. There's 2 that I mainly want to focus on. First, we have Grand Prix, and make no mistake, this is not by any means a traditional Grand Prix mode. We have a selection of cups, each of which has 3 courses, along with a 4th race where each lap is a different course from the cup. Already, that's pretty different from what we're normally used to. But the highlight of this Grand Prix mode is the rival system. So completing a Grand Prix successfully is not as simple as just completing the races. No, you also have to worry about your rival, whom you have to beat to win the Grand Prix. You get to select which rival you want and their difficulty, so there's a lot of customization there. I guess it makes the races feel more personal, is that a good word? Like, you focus on getting first place, obviously, but the main goal here is to focus on that one rival racer. And I really like that. And of course, you get those pretty awesome dialogue interactions as well. Then we have Race Park, which is your playground to do whatever the f you want. The world is your canvas. You can either set up custom matches with unique item sets and rules, or you could also try out one of the fun extra team modes, which I personally don't really like. But they're here. It seems that the ghost of Team Sonic Racing is still here to haunt us. A lot of this stuff carries over to the online modes as well, especially when festivals are happening. So part of the Crossworlds DLC roadmap is that every time a new character gets added, a festival is held for a few days with special online team modes taking up the matchmaking. I personally think the festivals are fine, and the rewards you can get are pretty cool, but taking away the normal matchmaking while they're active is a little strange, let's just say. So I hope they figure out a way to keep both active in the future. Speaking of which, the online functionality of this game is kinda whack. It's not stable in the slightest. You will constantly get disconnected and timed out. It's inevitable. I do appreciate the post-launch support, and it's perfect for a game like this, but the online mode needs some work. And to be completely honest with you, this game doesn't feel the most polished. Visually, it's fine enough. The art style looks very bland and flat in some places, but it looks pretty impressive in others. The animations and characters also look super weird. Nothing here looks very natural. There are also some slight performance and graphical issues. On PC, the highest frame rate supported is 60 FPS, which is not the most ideal for a racing game. 120 FPS at the very least should be more than possible, especially when considering that Shadow Generation, Superstars, and even Colors Ultimate support those higher frame rates. Like every Sonic game nowadays, they've also implemented anti-cheat, and yes, it does tank performance at times. But since this game has a large online player base, I'm okay with it this time. Oh, and the soundtrack. I gotta talk about the soundtrack. It's really good. Inconsistent for sure, but overall, there are a lot of tracks and remixes I like. Winter Museum, Kronos Island, Pumpkin Mansion, Radical Highway, and Crystal Mine are probably my favorite tracks in the game. And that goes for both the music and the courses themselves, which is kind of funny. But yeah, Sonic Racing Crossworlds is a very good game, and it definitely exceeded my expectations. Is it worth the $70 price tag? Absolutely not. I still can't believe they charged that much for this game. And if you're thinking about buying it, I would definitely wait for it to go on sale like I did. And there's still more to be talked about with this game since it's still getting updated with new characters and courses. So again, I will make a follow-up video talking about all of the free updates and DLC. But right now, if I had to give this game a score, I would give it a very solid 8 out of 10. It has definitely become my favorite Sonic racing game. Hell, I would even say it's one of my favorite racing games, period. But let me know what you all think. What are your thoughts on this game? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. But that's all for me. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all later. Goodbye.